It's great to have you here, though.
Great to be here, my friend.
Because do you know what I was trying to work out before we did this today? Because we've seen each other so often over the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I was like, when did we first meet? Now, it's not a test. I'm not testing.
No, I'm wandering back through my Alex Zane catalogue of memories.
That's nice that you have one.
It is.
It was 2009 on the set of Hotel Babylon. And it took me
You
a
were
while.
in it, weren't you?
Yes.
You were in it.
I had a walk-on part. And
That's right.
2009 it was, a walk-on part. And I was, because I'm not an actor, so I was absolutely terrified.
But you were that day. By God, you were that day.
Only because you were so nice to me. You were really nice to me. I think you could tell that I was nervous, and you were really nice to me.
Oh, good.
And so I thought, what would be hilarious?
I do remember you being there. What was I don't remember what the episode was about, because there were so many of them.
Do you know why you might not remember it? Because I thought what will be funny is I'll rewatch that episode. I'll find it online, rewatch it for this.
Yeah.
And I did. And I didn't make the final cut.
Oh, you're not in it?
I ended up on the editing floor.
Yeah, that would have been me. I was like, cut him out. He's obviously nervous. We don't need that kind of energy. I remember you being there, though. Yeah, I do remember you coming in. I can't remember what it was about. There was various silly things that happened in that make-believe hotel, which was in an old warehouse in Aylesbury.
It's a long time ago. That's a really,
it is. We're going back a long time
ago. But
I always enjoy seeing you there, because you know you're the go-to guy when it gets to those premieres and all of those things, and you know, and people react to you well. So it's always good to see you. Standing on top of a plinth with the name of something huge written behind you.
Yeah,
looking all sharp and dandy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, they're fun, those premieres, but this is much better, and that's why I wanted to do it in person, because I remember going, we need to do this in person, which is why I'm so glad that you made it down, because you're leaving soon, aren't you?
I am. I go in less than 2 weeks. It will be now. It's just a matter of getting visas and stuff like that, and jabs arranged, and then and houses set up. And all that kind of housekeeping that needs to be done.
So this is LA, right? This
is Los Angeles. Yeah. I'll go there. I think it's going to be the best part of a year, to be honest.
Wow.
I mean, 9 months probably.
That's crazy.
I would imagine.
Have you spent a lot of time there?
I have, but like 20 odd years ago, just after Lock Stock, which is 97. We all went out there for the release of Lock Stock, and we had a bit of a moment there. It wasn't like it was in London or the UK, because Lock Stock just sort of did something extraordinary that we weren't in any way, shape or form prepared for. And then we went to LA, and that's when Guy would start getting phone calls from Brad Pitt and all of that sort of stuff. But so we had a bit of a moment out there in LA, and then me and my wife decided, like, okay, let's just hang out here for a while. And I didn't have any visa or green card or anything like that, but we just rented a place and just sort of gave it a go for a year there. And I didn't actually get any work. I went and met plenty of people and kind of learned what was going on out there, which was a good experience. But we had no money, and I didn't even have a visa. I couldn't really even work, and we'd have to come home every 3 months or whatever it was, and you know, that sort of stuff. But it all sort of works. But we lived there, and then I got a band of brothers, which was 2000. Then and we were just sort of moving out there again more permanently. I don't know why we decided we would just giving it a go there, and still without a visa. And literally we packed up our home in London. We had a little flat and moved everything out there. And that week I got the part in Band of Brothers, which was 8-9 months back in the UK. So then I rushed back to the UK and literally got off the plane and went straight to boot camp, which was another thing. So then so I'd been there, but I'd spent time there, but I've never worked there.
So this is kind of like a glorious return now, because you're going back for something big.
Oh yeah. It's a big undertaking.
Well, I mean, it sounds exciting. So this is the offer. Mm-hmm. This is a limited series for Paramount
Plus.
Paramount Plus
going to be their tentpole, streaming service.
You're not no one without a streaming service now.
Well, apparently not. Yes, yeah.
And it's a dramatic recreation of the making of The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So this is...
Well, when you say it like that... Yes, it is. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, yeah.
I mean, for a movie that it's not short of stories behind the scenes.
No, it's really not.
And this is the guy who produced it. So from what I've heard, because the information out there is limited at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean...
but there is information out
there. There is, yeah.
Okay.
The Hollywood Reporter did an exclusive little bit about it, saying it's about Al Ruddy, the producer of The Godfather, legend in Hollywood. It's never before heard stories about what went on behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, I suppose that's a good summation of it. Yeah, he's still alive, 90 plus.
Yeah, 91, I think.
91.
Yeah.
He's still producing. He's just produced Clint Eastwood's last movie because him and Clint are old friends.
I think he won an Oscar for $1 Million Baby or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So they go way back. But and also Clint gave him his Academy Award for The Godfather back in 1972 as well. And there's a story that I've spoken to Al a few times now, Mr. Ruddy.
What's it like? Because he's proper old Hollywood. He's
the real deal, man. He's genius. He's brilliant. And he's sharp as a tack and he knows exactly how it. Because the first time he goes, he said, he's got this really deep voice. And he's like, okay, kid. He said, I seen this Bohemian movie. That was amazing what you did with the Bohemian movie. He said, what did you do in that movie? And I said, well, Al, it was sort of near the end, last 4 weeks, I came in and, they'd done a lot of the work and I sort of helped them pull it together and did the edit. He said, oh my God, kid. He said, you just scored 100 points with me, but you're too fucking nice. You're too nice. He said, if it was an American, we would be going, I fucking saved that thing. It was an absolute disaster. And they were fucked without me. And I came and I saved everybody and I turned it around. He said, but no, you're too fucking nice. He goes, you're fucked in Hollywood. But I really like you. Okay. And then he goes to me, okay, kid. Said, when you get here, I'm going to get an office right next door to you, and we're going to work side by side. And I went, okay. And they went, nah, I'm just fucking with you. Okay. And then the conversation moves on a bit more, and he goes, anyway, when you get here, I'm going to sit down. We're going to do some casting. It's going to be, I got some great ideas. I was like, he's like, no, I'm fucking with you again. So he just fucks with you, but he gets it. He knows. He's like, no, you do what you got to do. I'll just be, if you want to ask me anything, you just ask me. So, and then, the other thing goes, I just made a movie with Clint Eastwood. I call him the kid because he's 3 weeks younger than me. So, okay. So, yeah, anyway. So, he's an incredible man, but he did do, I mean, the thing is, he's someone in the late 60s, 70s who loved movies, who loved, TV and writing, and he worked at a very sort of he was an architect and worked at this very dry place called the Rand Corporation, which sort of did computer stuff, early days of programming, and then sort of just followed his passion and created and ended up by an extraordinary set of circumstances, all of his own making, to be quite honest, producing The Godfather.
Yeah, because they brought him in. They brought him in. Paramount brought him in because they were like, look, we want to make sure, Francis Ford Coppola is produced properly, because they weren't sure about him at this point. It's like,
no, Coppola had won an Academy Award for Patton, which was good, but his films were not deemed, Rain People and stuff like that, were not deemed to be, particularly commercial, and they suddenly realised they had one of the most commercial properties around. So, they brought in Al Ruddy, who was their low budget expert at that point, and he kind of drove it forward. I mean, it's difficult because there are many stories, but I feel like I'm giving away all of the gold.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm sitting here going, I know so many stories, but you want to see them because you're putting like, people might not know these stories. That's the thing. When you work in the industry, like,
sure,
you get fascinated by the making of these things. But I want to see people watching The Off the Cold.
Yeah. So do I. I mean, but at the same time, the other thing is the stories are so good. And what he did and how he did it and what they all did and who they were, Bob Evans and Coppola and Puzo and Pacino and Brando and Redford's in it and, James Caan. I mean, they're all in it for a greater or lesser degree, and they all played the very key and important parts. And collectively, as it's a good 10 hours. It's good. They're amazing, the scripts, because I was like, I read the first 2. I was like, man, this is so good. And so then I said, is there any more I can read? And they, they started trickling them out to me, and Yeah, extraordinary, because it's like you say, you know the era, you know the film, you know what's wrapped around it, but then to see all these people come alive who created it, you know, they didn't want to cast Brando. They didn't. Pacino was an unknown. You know, it's not the way it's done, and Coppola was a risk, and you know, and the book was a bestseller. There was a lot riding on it, and now other studios wanted to buy it for a lot of money, and there's endless sort of things that could have derailed it, and sort of did. And then, of course, there's other involvements from the people in New York, which is another really interesting side of the story that is really not known, which is, you know, there's 5 families in New York and they took an interest. And I don't want to say too much about that, because that really is the part of the story that is really extraordinary.
Yeah. I know the bit, and that the expression on my face is like, that's nuts what happened there.
It really is.
But like you say, less said the better, because a lot of people are going to be seeing this for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the hope. I mean, I think this is the great thing that, you know, I'm excited about as a filmmaker, that it's going to be it's 50 years next year of the release of the film. It's the anniversary of that. It's really to celebrate and you know, highlight that this incredible film, because you don't often meet many people who don't like The Godfather. It was all right. The Godfather, it's overrated. You don't come across many of those people. Yeah. I think anyone who's seen it go, it's one of the great films of the period. And that whole period of film that was coming out of Paramount and all the studios then, it was a massive sea change. You know, there was, you know, BE making Bonnie and Clyde, and then Schrader, and you know, Peckinpah and Bogdanovich, and you know, Polanski. There's all these incredible filmmakers came out of that era, and Coppola, and they changed how film was seen, how acting was approached, and you know, cameras just simply weren't locked off anymore. 2 shot, you know, close-ups each side and a wide, and then boom, off we go. It's suddenly the camera became something that moved and breathed. And I mean, of course, that's why everyone goes on about Citizen Kane, because he moved the camera. Suddenly it was doing things. But this is a seminal moment, really, in film history.
And I mean, obviously, you know, Coppola, legend.
Yeah.
You know, you're directing the making of the Godfather series.
Yes.
One of the people that might take an interest in watching that is Francis Ford Coppola.
Presumably, yeah.
Have you thought about that? What does that feel like, going, shit, so Coppola might be watching my reimagining of the events that he was involved in. This is the guy who directed this is Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, the guy who directed Apocalypse Now and Godfather one. Look, I mean, I'm glad you brought swimming. No, I do. Of course I do. And I have to be excited by that. I have to be.
Of course.
And I am. Of course I am. I mean, it was one of the first things that came to mind when they said, look, do you want to direct it? Oh, you know, we're working on the Saint for a long time with Paramount, trying to get that going. And there was various issues that it hit along the way. COVID kind of derailed it, and then script issues became more apparent. And you know, when something's in development, it can become complicated. Well,
is that on the back burner then?
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. I think it is. We we sort of sat down, had a serious talk about it, and said, you know, this is so important, and we want to start a franchise. We can't rush into it, and I didn't want to do that, and neither did the studio.
This is nice.
It is. It's a sensible move, because we were right up to it, and I think, you know, the button was about to be pushed, and it's a big button, and of course you make the best of it that you can, but you don't want to be making the best of something if you don't think it can be better. And you know, by going, all right, are we prudent and go, let's take a beat? Why do we, you know, why leap blindly? And it wasn't an easy decision on any behalf. You know, none of us all went, okay, yeah, fine, we'll just do it later. It was somewhat more protracted and painful than that. And because a lot of work and money and effort and great people's time and energy and has gone into it. So I took that hard, as you do. You know, that happens. It is part of the...
Of course, because the effort you put into something then translates into how bad you feel when it doesn't happen for whatever reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know, there's a sense of could I have done more, and should I have done this, and all of those questions that you lay at night looking at the ceiling, sort of like why didn't.
The night terrors when you wake up at like 3 a.m. and like it's for whatever reason you like just want to go back to sleep, and it's like, why don't I pick this moment as your brain to force you to deal with all this shit?
All that
right
stuff,
now,
all that stuff that you really have pushed to the back of your mind to get you through. Yeah, exactly. But look, it is part of the price, if you like, because the rewards can be great, but it always comes at a kind of cost.
Yeah. But I mean, like the offer, I mean, it's crazy because I think this is the first TV you've directed. And I guess years ago, there'd be that stigma of like moving from film into TV, but not anymore. I mean, like it's crazy the budgets that like TV shows have. You're talking like $15 million an episode for like Game of Thrones and The Crown.
Is that how much they spend an episode?
An episode.
15 million?
15, yeah.
15. Right,
sorry, 15.
Hang on a minute, we said 50.
No.
What?
No.
We're definitely in the wrong game.
Give it a matter of time.
I remember Band of Brothers was 14 at the time.
Yeah, that's one of the most expensive ever made.
Yeah,
I think.
that was 14 at the time. That's 20 years ago. And I remember finding that about halfway through and having to lay down in a dark room. No, but but look, it shows, doesn't it? And 20 years later, that's still as watchable as it was. We don't have quite as much as that on the offer, but I'm determined to make it look like we do.
Well, that's a really interesting thing because, like you're going to have a sizable budget. Take you back to Wild Bill, a feature film, less than $1 million.
Oh God, yeah. 600,000.
600,000 for your first feature, and now it's like that's 15 million an episode for a TV show.
Yeah, I'm not quite there, but I take your point. Yeah, no, but look, I remember at the time I was like 600 grand. That's great because I went and saw some mates of mine around that time who'd made a film called Shifty. Great director.
Oh yeah,
Ran Creevy.
Yeah.
And Ben Pugh, his producer.
Yeah, I met him on his follow-up, Welcome to the Punch.
Right.
Yeah.
Great film. Great. He's a good writer. He's a fantastic writer. Great filmmaker. But I remember going to see that film because my mate Jason Fleming was in that and he was mates with Creevy and Rani. And I was like, damn, this is really good. Danny Mays, Riz. Really great. And, it was obvious. And so when it started going around, I went and sat with the producer and said, what was part of the key parts of your process that helped you get there? What was, give me, because I'm thinking of doing this low budget film. And he told me they'd made it for like 100 grand.
Jeez.
It might have even been 10. And maybe I'm completely, it wasn't as much as I had certainly had for Bill. Because for Bill, the producer, there was a lock stock connection. I had Fleming in it, and then Andy Serkis agreed, and Will Poulter was just sort of popping out.
What a piece of casting! That was.
Exactly. Will was amazing, and then Charlie's had his Charlie Creed Miles had been there, but then there was Jamie Winston was in it, and she was really hot smoking out of kidulthood, and then Olivia Williams as well came on. But Sean Pertwee's like playing one scene as a policeman. I mean, it was like
love Sean.
I called in every favour that I could, and it just bolstered it, allowed it to feel like it was a marketable product, which is that's how they gauge it. So I thought I got a lot of money. 600 grand's a lot of money, and I got this great DOP who was looking to camera operators looking to make the step up. So it really sort of punched above its weight in a lot of ways, really. And
did Wild Bill go straight into Sunshine on Leith? Was that like, you finish Wild Bill and then that lands in your lap? Because you know how much I love Sunshine on Leith. I don't think, around that time there was a more feel-good film. That was just an incredible, like a real hit of pure, like, happiness in a movie.
Great, yeah. Well, it didn't come immediately. I mean, Bill took a bit of time to find it. There was a few, because we made it and it didn't have distribution, and people liked it, and we shopped it around, and we did those screenings where you get a whole bunch of people in a theatre and you screen it, and they all sort of and and scratch their heads, and will they, won't they, and you go for long dinners hoping that they'll buy it. It's really and there was a small distribution company who were really into it, and then Universal just turned up and went, we want it, boom, but that was about sort of a year in, and then once that happened, everything changed. It took on a different dynamic because they wanted to get a theatrical release because they thought it should go to the BAFTAs, which it did, which was all fantastic. But then when it got out, then people saw Wild Bill, and Andrew McDonald, who produced Sunshine on Leith, Train Spotting, and 28 Days Later, he had Sunshine on Leith. He's a Scot, and was like, and there was someone who worked in his office, Leah, who kind of was looking around at stuff, and she'd spotted Wild Bill and put it in front of him. And so it didn't come immediately, but I engaged with it because I was like, oh, that should be what I should do, because it'd be totally different from Bill. Because the thing is, you make your first, they say you're making your first film is kind of easier in a way than making your second, because the first one you can make it, if it's no good, you don't really get to make a second one. But fortunately, Bill got nominated for a BAFTA, so I was like, wow. And some producer did say to me, he said, I said, what did you think? What did you think? He said, they're going to let you do it again. I was like, okay.
You do it again.
Yeah, they're going to let you make another. It was like, they're going to let you do it again. I was like, okay. So, and then Sunshine came, and it was my wife who went, do the musical. I was like, really?
Wow, why?
Do the musical.
What was her thinking?
Because it was different.
Right.
And if I was then going to get another opportunity, which we considered to be rare and special, with someone like Andrew McDonald and Alon at DNA Films, that was an incredible opportunity, rather than Foot Soldier 7 or I don't know, I'm a Boot Boy 9 or Lock, Stock -6 or whatever. Right. Yeah. I mean, look, those films are perfect.
Lock, Stock, the beginning.
Yeah, Lock, Stock, the early days.
We want to see where they all were as teenagers.
The kindergarten years. That's my lolly. Oh, it's your lolly, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it was different. And my wife, I mean, not that it was really related. She works in opera. She's an opera producer and theatre, and she has her own company in Lithuania. And so there was a musical connection. But I don't think that was why she was doing it. It's just like, this is so different from everything else. And if you want to show that you can do stuff, and I've never spent any time in Scotland. I knew some Proclaimers songs. I didn't know a lot of them. I knew.
But you knew I'm going to be.
I know I'm going to be.
Because having that in your arsenal, making a musical film and going, right, what's the last song that's going to walk the audience out of the auditorium? It's going to be the Proclaimers. I'm going to be. At that point, you're like, oh, yeah.
Okay. Right, we might be onto something. Yeah,
we're good.
Yeah,
we're good. How do you make sure people leave with a smile on that song? Just play that song.
Yeah, well, we did do that, and there was a different ending shot in the original body of the shoot. There was a different ending shot, and what I went for is I finally broke the fourth wall, and she's a nurse in it. The lead character's a nurse in it. Antonia Thomas is a nurse, and the guy's in love with her, goes to the hospital to find her, and finds her in the hospital, and they have this very magic moment, and then they just start singing the song together to the camera, and then all the patients joined in, and then everyone else and all the other characters turned up, and this is what was kind of originally scripted and was
so instead of the one outside on the streets of Edinburgh. Okay.
And so this was the original. It might be on the DVD extras. I don't know. It's great fun. George Mackay is brilliant. Antonia's just amazing as always. Incredible singing voice. Great actor she is. And they really made it work. But it's different. And I just had kids with like pots stuck on their head. Like used to read in the Beano. I was like, what's that kid got his head stuck?
The Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, he's got a pot on his head, or a bloke with a crutch, and people in gowns and stuff. And it was fun, but it was in a cramped little corridor, and we got the film, we watched it, and the money guy was like, it's good, but it just feels like it needs to be bigger. So then I went away and I thought about it, and I was like, okay, well, if you were going to give me any more money, I would want to do this. And that's because I'd obviously spent time in Edinburgh. I had seen the square there. I knew it, and I thought about it a lot. And I just thought, I just played my hand, and they went, okay, go do it. And so they gave me another couple of days, and I then got together with a choreographer friend, Arthur Peter, and who lives not far from here, and we kind of assembled that outdoor ending with lots, as many extras as I could get. I said, I need like 500 people. And what was the great thing is that people walking by, the choreography is actually very basic. They just joined in because it looked like so much fun.
And it's the Proclaimers. I'm going to be. It's honestly, it goes off and people like zombies are, where's the song coming from? Let me do this.
To it. Yeah. And so anyway, I was just lucky that, you kind of, but the same thing happened with Rocket Man. There was an ending that wasn't working. Originally the film ended of him just going through the doors into a bright light at the corridor. I don't know if he walks up that corridor and sings. And my original idea was it would then go into the original video of I'm Still Standing to connect the real Elton to our fantasy Elton. And after watching it, the studio and several producers and all of that, it's like, yeah, there could be more. It's got to be something big. And I was like, it's got to be spectacular. We could do a spectacular ending. I would like to restage the I'm Still Standing video, but make it even more grand, kind of have him sort of come up from the sea, out of the sea on the piano, and all the dancers dance on the water, kind of in theme with the whole kind of. And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds a little bit dear. Like, well, And so then another idea came where he's at a concert and he walks on people's hands, and eventually I said, I don't know if look, Bohemian Rhapsody ends with a big concert. I think we might be in a bit of trouble if we try and end at a big concert as well.
Right. And you don't want to be repeating, a movie that I can help it. You were involved in.
And I understand what the success of that film really is as well. I think people love that moment after everything that's gone.
Yeah, I mean, the high point, it is obviously Live Aid and the recreation of that. I mean, what's interesting is you had Rocket Man, you had Rocket Man lined up and ready to go when you joined. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we'll talk about your relationship with actors because, it's tremendous, your relationship with Taron. But it was Rami who was one of the people who called you up going, can you get on this movie?
Yeah, it was. And I didn't know him. And I had been attached to the project in another iteration a couple of years before when it was at a different studio. And that almost got going and then didn't for script reasons and other reasons, and which was very difficult because I'd worked a long time on that. But
that's crazy. Was that hard then? How going back to something that you'd walked away from because you couldn't make it work creatively with what you wanted to do, and then returning to it later.
It was. I mean, I don't know if there was a certain sense of Schadenfreude, if that's the right word. Because, you come away eventually go, God, it was me. And eventually go, no, it wasn't me. Fuck them. They never got it together. I did my thing. It was great. It was great. They couldn't make it work.
At that point, you're sleeping like a baby.
Yeah, great. You're on to something else. But the producers of it, Graham King and his right-hand man, guy Dennis O'Sullivan, who I first met in Toronto when Sunshine on Leith had gone to Toronto. And they came to me then and went, you should do the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. And I was like, that sounds great. Yeah, I'd love to do that. So I knew those guys. And I think when they started having issues for whatever reason, my name was one of the first on the list of okay, who could pick up the ball while it's running? Because I had a relationship with the band, with Roger and Brian, because of my involvement before. We got very close to doing it. So they knew me. And obviously it's important for them. And I also had a relationship with the producers. The studio, I had a relationship because I just had Eddie the Eagle come out and everyone was very happy about that.
Lovely movie.
Great, it's gone down very well. So I was like, okay, and I shot it on time and under budget and all the stuff that so they felt good about that. So it was like a lot of circumstances all coming back, sort of pointing towards in the right thing. So I think I was just the top name on a very short list who could do it. And I was familiar with the material, although it was a different script. I still knew the material, and it was literally like on a Thursday, are you interested in this? And I went to Matt Vaughn, who's producing Rocket Man. In fact, he brokered it, is the truth be known. Matt Vaughn said, look, I've had a call from the Fox, who are our studio, and they're in trouble. What would you think about it? I said, well, what do you think about it? Because I'm actually preparing Rocket Man. He said, well, it might be interesting to see what they're doing. Right, because there's a certain crossover. It's like, oh, right, I get you.
He's a clever man.
He's a clever man. He's a clever man. And I said, okay. I said, but it's going to take me out for 3 or 4 weeks. And he's like, look, we're far enough out. It won't hurt us. It's our studio. And I said, okay, all right. I'm up for it. I'll go and meet them. And so I met Graham King and Dennis, and they said, look, Rami would love to sit down and we talk about it. I said, all right. And they said, but look, you've got to start on Monday. I say, okay, well, let me see it. And they said, no, you can't see it. We need you to answer yes or no now.
Wow. Can you show me anything?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
They said, well, if you agree, we'll show you all of what we got, but not until you agree to do it.
So protected. That's the film industry.
It was. And I got to say, more power to him. Matt Vaughn went, I'll come with you and watch it as well. So I said, all right, yeah. And me and Matt Vaughn went and watched it. And Matt was like, and it was because there was big gaps in it and there was some stuff in it. I was like, I don't get that. There was some things that they'd kind of done. I was like, and it felt disjointed. Of course, it was a rough assembly of something that was halfway through being made. And Matt was like, well, look, it's your call. He said, there's something there. There's a there, but we got Rocket Man. And then he started going, I was like, no, it's all right, I can do it.
He flip rolls. He's actually, wait, no,
yeah,
Rocket
no, wait,
Man.
yeah. I said, well, I've kind of committed myself. No, he was brilliantly supportive. He was. I credit where it's due. And so he did it, and he sort of shrugged his shoulders, and I said, okay, right, I'm doing it. And I did. I started on the Monday, but I went and sat with Rami, I think, like the Saturday night for dinner. And he was super electrified by it. And I think he'd seen Eddie maybe, and he knew me because there's a lot of Brits in it. And people know me and they go, oh, yeah, Dexter's cool. Or whatever they say. Or whatever. They said the right thing, whatever they said. And he was excited. And yeah, I said, okay, we're going to do a bit of rehearsal first before we do anything. So I got a couple of extra days. And I did some rehearsals with him and the band and Lucy, and because they were the scenes that were coming up, it was really the heart of the relationship was coming up with him and Lucy, him and Mary, Freddie and Mary. So yeah, I got into that with them, and we kind of just, and then I just, and I know that they'd had trouble getting going because the first AD was the first AD who did Eddie the Eagle with me. He was a mate, and I was like, how's it going there? And he's like, we don't seem to get started until about 1 o'clock. And I was like, right, fuck that. I'm going to be there at 7:30 every morning. If we're not all on the set by 8 and ready to rock and roll, then there's something. So I came in with this real sort of, because the studio also said to me as well, like, look, we're hemorrhaging money. It's, we really need to get this thing going. So I was like, right, I'm your man. And I wanted to do good. I wanted to, drive. So I did. I sort of drove it in a way that I think everyone was like, oh, good, this is what we want. We want someone to just take the fucking reins and do that.
I guess with that, you have to park your ego a little bit as well, because you are sort of, it's like you're bringing you to it, but you can't bring too much of you because you've got to fit in with what the tone of the material that's already been shot is.
Yeah. I went with a very clear thought in my head that it's not my movie. It's my predecessor's movie. I have to try and understand what it is that he was doing and make it to be part of that whole, because I can't get to shoot the whole thing. They've shot 8 to 9 weeks already and spent many, many millions. And so there is a parking of ego in one respect, but the other part of my ego is like, be really good.
Yeah, of course.
So that my ego was sated in another respect, I suppose.
I mean, do you think it should have been R-rated? Was that one of the reasons that you couldn't make it work in the first place? It sounds like a loaded question because obviously it went on to make, 900 million. So that is, you could say, no, it shouldn't have been R-rated.
Yeah.
But in terms of the material.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, no, you're right. Look, the numbers speak for what it is.
Yeah.
And I think the difference between, because Rocket Man does push that envelope more. It does, but the difference is that Freddie is not around to defend himself, and the only people who are making that film are people who loved him very dearly, who are still around and have something that they're not defending, but they're holding close a memory of someone they love. Whereas Elton goes like, darling, I don't give a fuck. Whatever. I did it all. Yeah, I did it all. And you're getting it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
There's nothing in between that and what happened, and then it's about how you interpret it. Of course, there's a very valid argument for you could have made Bohemian Rhapsody far darker than it was. Look, the rock star lifestyle is very well documented to have its casualties, and not that I think that Freddie was a casualty of the rock star lifestyle. He may have been, not a victim's the wrong word. He's not a victim, but he may have fallen, foul of a terrible, terrible disease.
Yeah.
But and obviously there was excesses in it. You know, that's young people with success and money, and that's kind of what Rocket Man is about as well. Rocket Man is about how you lose. You have the ability to lose yourself within that, and we've seen it. It's well documented. Many rock stars do it very publicly. And there would be a very valid argument for making a Bohemian Rhapsody R-rated. You could do it. It'd be great, but that's not what they wanted.
No.
They wanted to look at the memory of someone in a different way, and in a way that it made it really accessible to
Queen fans everywhere, of every age, and of every, some people. I'm sure, like you say, the numbers speak for themselves. So a lot of people were very happy to see. I mean, I guess a slightly sanitized version of what that film could have been.
I don't know. It is sanitized, I suppose, but it's only sanitizing, like, just didn't choose to show all of the picture. I mean, And by a picture, they're this really gnarly thing. I've done 3 of them now.
I was going to say that
3 of them.
You're very experienced in this area.
Well, I'm getting to be. It's all right. It's okay. But the truth is, it's what I realised on Eddie. And it was important for me to understand is that there was this thing with the skis that Michael Edwards used to jump with in 1982, or I can't remember what it was now, 4. I'm sure I'm getting that wrong.
Yeah, that's the Calgary. Was it the Calgary Olympics? Yeah. Whenever they were,
I should remember.
Fans.
Yeah, whenever it was, writing on a postcard to Alex Zane, his house, his street, London.
I'll give out my address at the end of the show.
That the particular skis that he wore then, everybody wore, are now completely illegal.
Yeah.
Technology's moved on, it's just illegal. And they don't even make them anymore. You could probably buy them in some old antique shop, but they're completely impractical. You can't have them. And I was like, they've got to be the right bindings on the skis. That's really important. And they came to me several times and said, look, it just can't be done. If we're going to shoot any ski jumping, we have to use the modern, lawful things. You can't just stick illegal skis on people and make them jump because they'll kill themselves.
Right.
And if they hurt themselves, that's it. There's no insurance. We're done.
So you choose the right thing to do, which is...
It's almost like, so yes. So then I'm laid on, oh my God. And then I thought, does it matter?
Yeah, you're worrying about that minority that are going to go, actually, I'm sorry, but those bindings were completely incorrect for the Calgary Games in 1980. I know what the answer is.
Yeah, and look, there are people there, and that's important to them.
Yeah.
But I went, there's 0.000.1% or whatever it is, and I have to just take the letters. I'll have to take the letters. And it's the same thing with Bohemian Rhapsody. There's anachronisms and timeline mistakes, and people were there that weren't there, and vice versa. There's a whole load of that stuff. The same in Rocket Man, you get away with it because it's just his befuddled memory,
which is great because you said I was going to say about you set that up at the start, don't you? By going, hello, this is an unreliable narrator here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. None of what you're about to see is really that reliable.
Which is crazy because, I didn't know, but you're watching the Troubadour gig, which is just a fantastic sequence in Rocket Man, and you're like Crocodile Rock at the Troubadour, and you're like, never happened. Like he didn't play Crocodile Rock at the Troubadour.
You never written it, and it wasn't even written.
It wasn't even written.
It's a Back to the Future moment.
Yeah, I love that. I've told you before, I love that scene, and I love the fact that what was it, Michael Stipe from REM, talks about that sequence at the Troubadour and goes, what he did there, what you did, Dexter, was completely capture what it feels like as a musician to have the audience in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
That's
nice. I know. That's that's the things that they're amazing. That's amazing when you hear things like that. I mean, I'm sure, it happens to plenty of filmmakers because you're trying to communicate a story and you have this medium to do it, and you go, what if everyone flies? What if everyone lifts off the ground for a moment? And people will sit in the meeting and they look at you and they sort of go, well, how can we do that? And then they're immediately, but it's really something that comes out of your mind, and you get the answers and you make it work. And
in that meeting, when you say, I've got this idea, and when people go, can we do that? Do you go, yes, definitely, and then go away and go, so can we do that? Because I've just said yes, we can.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, it's funny. One producer said to me, look, the little cockney bloke said, look, the answer's always yes. The answer's always yes, you could do it. But the big real question is like, how much does it cost? Right, because you can do anything in theory.
Yeah.
Now, as we've seen it, fucking aliens come down and ride bicycles out of the back of spaceships or whatever. It's all possible. How much does it cost? That's a different thing.
And also the problem is, is it right to do it? Like, just because you can do it, it's like the Jurassic Park line. They were too busy thinking about whether they could do it as to whether they should.
No, it's true. But also the thing is about how do you retain its authenticity? Because what I then said was, because there was all these ideas about people on super fast cameras jumping on trampolines that made them go really slowly into the air. And we looked at all of those tests and eventually I wanted to go as analog as I possibly could on it because it was 1970 in our world, and it had to feel like it happened in that moment with as little tricks as possible, and it had to feel tangible and like you could reach out and touch that audience. And so we did. We created these beams and these bars and these wires and seats and all this kind of stuff, and they all literally lift off the ground. The first 3 rows of 40 odd people on hydraulics, they lift off the ground. I'm sure it was very uncomfortable for them. I know it was, but it gives it an authenticity, the kind of in-camera nature of it, how they would have done it.
Right, which is, to go back to Eddie the Eagle, there's an example of a movie, and I think Vic Armstrong was your action, legend Vic Armstrong was your action unit director on that, and he talks about, the way to do it is to use CGI sparingly. Like, if you're going to use it, use it sparingly, and in-camera stuff works. Apparently, what did he say to you and Matthew Vaughn on that movie when you were talking about filming the ski jumps? He said, I want to film them like car crashes. Mm-hmm. What? I hope none of the stunt people were in earshot, because that's like, you want to film it like what? Sorry, because
because in fairness, there was some crazy Austrian stuntmen on that film, and I was like, we're going to go down to 40, and I think it's at the bottom. I'll just throw myself, and I can go face first, and I'm like, Vic's like, and I'm like, right, okay, these guys are up for it, and they do. They just spent the whole day just hammering down those runs.
It's a different world, isn't it? I have so much respect for stunt people, and I once spoke to Vic, and I said, what's the most dangerous stunt you've ever done, like the one that you're most proud of, because it was the most difficult? And I was sort of expecting something like a massive fall or fire, probably something involving fire. It's the one in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where he jumps from the horse onto the tank at the end. Yeah, and it's kind of like, you sort of, to watch that as a kid when I first saw it, I'm like, cool, guy jumped off horse onto tank. But then now to sort of go back, hearing his words and watch it, you're like, fucking hell. Yeah, I bet. You're on a live animal that apparently you take your hands off the reins of a horse, it immediately stops. So it's got to keep running. And you've got to jump onto a tank. Yeah. So, wow.
Yeah, I think that sequence is one of the most extraordinary sequences, in terms of analog stunts that is just done in camera. I mean, look, obviously there's many, many brilliant things, but obviously, and it's a sum of its parts, the editing and everything else that goes into it. But it is incredible. I mean, of course, him going under the truck in the first one is an amazing moment. Yeah. But he builds on that, and that's the amazing thing about Vic Armstrong. And he loved Eddie. I mean, he brought a passion to it. I was like, gee, this guy, and he'd been around a bit, and he sort of, got to probably the twilight years of his career. I don't know. He's, I'm sure he's still working, having said that. But,
it's weird because I think it's because he really loves Eddie the Eagle. I think he was a big fan, and I was like, that sort of came out of left field when I heard that, and then I'm like, do you know what? It probably is ski jumping and stunt work. Probably there is a synchrony there where you're like, no wonder he loves Eddie the Eagle, because he's like, this guy does what I do. It's just stand at the top of a massive drop and go, going to throw myself off.
Okay, we go down now. Where do we go now? Okay, no, exactly, because when we went out and did the recce. We went to the place where Eddie trained. It's all shot in Garmisch, which is where Michael went and first trained when he was, and they'd added an extra bigger jump since then. But the smaller jumps that are in the film are the jumps that Michael learnt on. They're the ones, and we all went there together. And I think standing up the top of that big one for the first time, you go, oh my word, this is insane. And then we got there and some kids were training, some 12-year-old kids were training, and they just took off down there and jumped, and we were all there grown men going, oh my God, these kids are just amazing. What kind of focus and courage and madness it took to do it. And it was just so every day for them.
And you obviously, I mean, watching you and Taron in interviews, the relationship that you formed on Eddie the Eagle, like that no doubt helped with Rocket Man.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the quote I found? I think Taron said something like, as a director, you make him feel like he can do anything, which has got to be what you want to hear when your leading man is like, I feel like I can do anything on this movie because of you behind the camera.
I mean, that's the aim. But the truth is, he can. I mean, it's only because I know that he can. His self-doubts or whatever, every actor has their process and stuff. But particularly, Taron is remarkable because he can do anything that he sets his mind to. But it's very important. I like to hope to, that I can give that to a lot of actors. I mean, the thing is about me, and it's a very simple part of who I am or my process, is that I do believe in people and their ability to do things. And I also believe that people invariably can't see it themselves. Because the people who can, or think they can, I don't know. It's that whole thing is like, if they were chocolate, they would eat themselves. That becomes like, that's in the way of
self-belief. Yeah. It's like when that tips over into arrogance. It's like you absolutely need self-belief. But if you have too much of it, then you stop listening to people. You're too confident in it.
Yeah, and of course you want a bit of that, and you want to, fan that flame a little bit. Like, man, of course you could do it. Would you? That absolutely. And then there's other times where it's like, no, you can do this. And you want to have both sides of that, and every shade in between that needs to be applicable. Rather than people going, so I got this, man. I got it.
Take a break.
And then you go,
take a break, Dex.
Yeah. And you go, that's really not what that's really, oh God, now I've got to tell them. Yeah, interesting. Good choice. We can is there another way we could do it?
Is there any other way?
Is there any other way but that way? We might want to have a look at it.
Do you think it comes from like working so well with actors? Do you think it comes from, because I couldn't believe it, your career in front of the camera has spanned 6 decades.
Yeah.
As of last year, because you were in I Hate Susie last year. So I
just did Dungeons and Dragons as well.
Oh, what's that?
Dungeons and Dragons is a Paramount movie of the classic Hasbro board game.
When's that?
Dungeons and Dragons.
I didn't see that. That wasn't on any of my lists.
I went and did it the other day as a favour.
Ah, there you go.
Mate. Yeah.
What are you playing in it?
Marleman, he's called.
Marleman.
I'm Michelle Rodriguez's ex-husband.
Wow, goodie or baddie? Can you say?
I think I'm a goodie.
You don't
it's
know. It's
hard for me to say because I got one scene where she comes and sees me in my little house. I'm really diminutive. I've got a very tall wife. I don't know what they gave me one scene. I don't know what it's about. I have no idea. But they were like, will you come and do this one scene and just be really lovely? So I just went there and I had a big beard and she's amazing. Michelle's amazing.
Yeah, she's
great. And she's great.
She's so good.
She's great.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
But yeah, no, so anyway, I went and did that recently. And yeah.
Because what is it, 1976? She's like, that's the big starting point. Which was
76.
Bugsy Malone.
And it's before that. I have to get this right because why I'm so going to get so hot on this now is
Go on.
only because it's 50 years next year since The Godfather has its anniversary.
Yeah.
Right. And my first work was when I was 6 years old. Right. And I can't remember which one it was because it was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I did a road safety film with Todd Carty and John Pertwee. In 1972.
Wow.
He was Doctor Who at the time.
Oh my God.
Pertwee. And that's a very strange little road safety film called Splink. Splink is an anagram of stop, park cars, look, listen. It's how any kid was expected to remember what it was. I'm a 55-year-old man.
We've got an 8-letter acronym.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like unknowable what it means, Splink. But anyway.
that didn't land.
That
did
not land.
I'm hearing about it for the first time.
This was pre the Green Cross Code Man, Dave Prowse. it's either that or there was a film called Steptoe and Son Rides Again,
Right.
which is the second Steptoe and Son movie, and Diana Dawes is in it in the beginning, and I played one of her 5 kids in it or something like that.
So
Or I
wait,
was one of her kids.
So that makes next year what then in terms of your
50 years.
50 years. Oh my God.
Yeah, and so that what I'm angling for, rightly or wrong, is like, it's The Godfather's 50th anniversary and it's my 50th anniversary. How can I make this all about me?
Stick that on your poster,
Yes,
Paramount Plus.
Exactly. The Godfather and Babyface.
Yeah, because obviously that's
No,
you know,
everyone remembers Babyface.
everyone.
but yes,
Just not because it's the best gag in the film as well. It's such a strong gag.
it's a good gag.
It's a great gag.
It is good. It is good.
I mean,
It's a good intro.
it's a really
You don't
good
get
intro.
many intros like that in a movie.
And I think you break the fourth wall in that, don't you?
I do.
You
That was Parker on the day. He just went, just look at the camera. So when I go and you say I am Babyface, just look at the camera quickly. And I was like, everything you're told as a kid is like, whatever you do, don't look at the camera.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, that's not really allowed. So that's why it really sticks in my mind, that him saying that to me.
Yeah.
And then when I watch it, there's a brief look where I just look, break the fourth wall.
Have you watched it? I mean, do you watch it? I imagine people go, have you watched it a lot? Have you seen it before? When was the last time you saw it?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I can't help myself. When I meet, kids of friends and stuff like that, it's like we were at lunch with some friends the other day, and they've got like a 10-year-old kid, running around, and his mum saying he's a very good singer, he wants to be a singer or an actor. And then, it sort of comes up one way or another. And so, I get my phone, I show this kid, me at 9 years old, and they're like, that's you, they kind of have to, because the thing about Bugsy is, it is a brilliant film.
Oh,
it's a brilliant film.
It was my gateway. I don't know that I'd love possibly like Rocket Man so much, Sunshine and Leith, if I hadn't, because that was my gateway into musicals. Because I was a kid who was like, musicals, no thanks.
Yeah.
And then I watched that, I'm like, yes to musicals from now on.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a brilliant standout musical. And I suppose at the time, Williams wrote it, he was at the top of his game, and it was very current. It would have been the equivalent of a pop star writing, or a current star writing a musical, whereas Singing in the Rain and Love is the Tender Trap and American in Paris and Hello Dolly and all of that stuff is all written sort of 10, 20 years before the fact. There would have been stage films or musicals that would have come up through Broadway and the more traditional route, whereas Bugsy, there was no stage show of it. It's the same as Rocket Man. This is why I love the equivalent of it. Is like, when they did Bugsy, there was no template for it. It all comes out of what Parker wanted to create and what they did. And I'm very proud of the fact and it's only something I realised halfway through Rocket Man, is like, oh, there's no blueprint for this. We're just making it up, literally, as it goes along. Most musicals, even Sunshine and Leith, had a stage show that you could go back and kind of, give it some context, give it what's the genesis of this. Whereas we invented a new musical. And that was something that just sort of was a light bulb moment for me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm really proud of that. That I'm really proud of, and what we all did there."
Because obviously, Rocket Man. I mean, before you committed to doing The Offer, and like you mentioned, The Saint was happening, but like everyone was talking about Sherlock 3. That was, I guess, that's another casualty of the.
That was a casualty of COVID, really.
Yeah.
That. I mean, look, I spent incredible time with Robert. I mean, he was one of the first to see Rocket, and he just came to me and said, that's it, I really want you to do this film. And I was like, I'm having lunch with Robert Downey Jr., so something's going right. And he was like, so, what's it like to be an A-list director? And I was like, what did he just say to me? What? And I was like, oh, but I was like, fuck. What? And he knew, because he was needling me. He's very smart. He's very funny, because I'm sort of there sitting there going, he's like, no, man, that film's amazing. I was like, all right. So that was great. And then, I got to go and spend some time with him, which was really extraordinary, brilliant, super generous and great. I mean, the amount of ideas that come out of him, it's just like overwhelming. Not overwhelming. It was
just whelming.
Whelming. Yeah, we're just whelming. Just incredible. Like, this is going to be so. But then, we started going, and then COVID hit, and they were like, look, we're going to stand it down. Robert's got some other thing he wants to do, and I was like, okay. I don't want to. It's, again, these things are so big that you don't want to just chisel them into something that. And then And then Paramount, well, why are you waiting for that to get back? Do you want to do the Saints? I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. I know that Robert will not let that fish off the hook.
I hope not, because he's so good in that character. It's such a good series.
Yeah.
And people are chomping at the bit. There was a story that went around just the other day because he was doing some Wing Chun with his instructor, and people were like, that looks like Sherlock Holmes martial arts. He's training for Sherlock Holmes 3. It's back on, everyone.
Yeah. I can neither confirm nor deny
no, of course.
these rumours. But I do have time, that's for sure, in the foreseeable to go and
that'd be great.
Do the offer. But yeah, I mean, I would love that as well. So I'm gonna.
That would be exciting for you. I mean, that's a big playpen for a director.
It is, and I think I'm even more ready for it now in a way. I think there were other things going on in my own life, that after Rocket, that were. Anyway, I think I'm just more prepared now. I think I'm just more ready to go. Oh yeah, I can do these things. I'm ready to do them more now.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to? We're shortly running out of time, but do you want to talk about two films that I bet you never get asked about? This is called my little self-indulgent thing, just because I'm a massive fan of genre movies. Like I like horror, and you've made two movies. First of all, Doom. Yeah. Like you were in Doom, man, which is like. I often say Doom is underrated.
Is it?
Well,
I've not seen it.
Have you never seen it? You never seen Doom?
Not all the way through. No.
Yeah, it didn't get a great response. People often say to me, "Do you understand that underrated and rubbish are two different things, Alex?" I'm like, "Shut up."
That's a very good point. My memory of Doom is that I was in a wheelchair, right? So I'm a character who's in a wheelchair.
That's
so
right.
half my body does not exist, and they've kind of CGI'd my body into a wheelchair because I'm someone who's been cut in half by a teleporter, from what I remember.
That is absolutely right, yeah. You don't forget those things.
No, you don't. And so, but what I do remember is that we were on the set, I think it was out in Hungary, and I was in a wheelchair, real wheelchair, but it was remote controlled by the props man because I had to have my hands free, and it was meant to be part of my body, so it would just move and roll around as and when, and as I spoke my dialogue, and there was an issue with, when I was just resting, I would put my hands on the side on the wheels, and the CGI guy came to me, the visual effects guy, and said, "Look, if you put your hands down there, we have to animate them, and hands are really hard to do. So could you not put your hands down below the level of the side of the chair?" So there's lots of me, my arms folded like this. I don't even know, my arms are folded a lot, or I'm kind of talking like this. But generally I went for the folded arms, because if I put them down here, and the other part of it was, because I wasn't operating the chair, it was operated by a Hungarian props man. I was essentially a prop. I would say my dialogue, and then halfway through I'd go, and I'd just take off across, and I'd be trying to speak my dialogue to people, and I was like shooting off across the other side of the set. I was speaking to Dwayne, The Rock Johnson, and, because he didn't speak English, and he didn't know what the fuck I was saying, and the director came up to me and said, "Don't move until you finish the line." I was like, "It's not me, you have to tell. Yeah, I'm with you. I want to say my line here. Please tell the Hungarian prop man who's operating me, because I am nothing but a talking prop at this point." So that's my recollections of Doom.
All right. Well, the other one that I love, which sadly no one saw, and this is a good movie. It was David Tui's submarine horror Below, which did no business at the time.
They didn't.
But
no one was interested in Below.
I know, which is a shame. It was good.
They built a submarine 1/3 bigger than an actual real interior of a submarine. No, it's great. My great mate Jason Fleming was on it as well, so we had a great time there.
He once told me a story, and I cannot remember whether he told me it on air or not, so I can't repeat it. But it was about his time on the. I'm sure he's told you on the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's about Sean Connery on that movie, and I'm like,
in the lift.
Yeah, I can't. It's his story to tell after.
It is. Look, Jason's the great raconteur of the industry. Now, my time on Below, Zach Galifianakis was in it as well. It was one of his first movies, and that was great because we were all filming in London. So me and Fleming were kind of still dining out on our Lock Stock infamy. So we went out to a few places with them. I remember some quite good fun we had in town with Zach. Zach had some very interesting edibles. I'd long given up any kind of shenanigans like that. But
Yeah.
I remember people getting very high. Yeah, that Zach was there, and yeah, my great friend Fleming. There's a couple of others in it as well. But my one, it was a good job for me because I didn't have much money at that time, and I remember that I had to die in it, and I had my leg in a wooden splint. My character had a broken leg, and they bound up my leg with an oar, and so I had to hobble around this fucking submarine with my leg in a splint and my roll neck jumper, and I'm trying to escape some ghosts or whatever it was on the fucking. And there was something that killed me, and it smacked me in the face, and I had to fall back through this submarine doorway.
Yeah,
and I sort of fell back, and my leg with the splint stayed up on the edge of the door like this, because they're like those round doors in the submarine. So it stayed up like that, and so my leg was in the back of the shot, and they came up, and the director said, "Oh, like your leg's in the back of the shot," and I was like, "Yeah, well, I couldn't really cover it. It doesn't matter. And it was my last day, and they were, "Well, we're going to carry on this scene for the next couple of days." So I had to. So I was like, "Great!" So I got a couple of extra days out of it, just laying with my leg through the doorway like this, up on a splint. It's great. Just had to lay there for a couple more days while they got the rest of the scene. It's great because I needed the money, so it was really good. So that's how my wife remembers it. She's like, "Ah, the one where you keep your leg in the frame. Always keep your leg in the frame."
Yeah, that lock stock was. You forget. I mean, there's that great story about how it ended up getting, becoming big in America, where it was Trudy Styler sort of calls up Tom Cruise and goes, "Come and sit in the screening room, watch Lock, Stock," and all the Paramount execs. I think it was Paramount. Was
it Paramount? Maybe
they were basically they were umming and ahhing about whether to distribute it there, and then he walks in and goes, "This is the best film I've ever seen. You'd be idiots not to buy it." And like,
essentially, yep.
Is that right?
Yeah, this film rocks. Is what he said right at the end of it. I think he said, "When this film rocks, you'd be idiots not to buy." Uncle Tom said we was, so we better get it. He was right. It was good. It's a good film.
A great film.
It's great. And yeah, we did. And then we went out to LA after that, and then we were sitting at the Four Seasons Hotel. We were like, "Yeah, great." And Vinnie Jones was like, "Four Seasons, lads, the Four Cheeses Hotel. This is great." And then guy goes, I just got a call from Brad Pitt." "Oh yeah, what's going on?" He said, "Doesn't care what I'm doing next. He wants to be in it." I was like, "Oh, that's good, guy." "Oh, that's all right then, isn't it? That's good." He said, "Yeah." Yeah. So no, a lot of great things came out of that. And that's what they were saying to Statham. "You're going to be the next Bruce Willis." And Statham was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." It's like, you could be an action star. He's like, "Oh, well, really?" Biggest action star in the world. But yeah. So it was good times.
Mate, it has been a pleasure chatting to you.
Likewise.
Please come back. It's by the sounds of things, it's going to be a hell of a lot to talk about. Soon. But
yeah. I will. I'll go to America and I'll do what I'm doing over there, and then I'll come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't live too far.
That's great. And good luck with the offer, man. It sounds exciting.
Well, maybe I'll see you there if you ever get out there.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the world's changing. It's coming back. It feels like the film industry, the TV industry is waking up after a long slumber, which is exciting.
No, and the TV is a really exciting frontier at the moment in a way, because lots of people are finding a way to make it work, and you have this, sort of, I've got a 10-hour movie to make is how I'm kind of seeing it at the moment. I'm a part of a 10-hour thing. I'm directing 4 hours out of 10. So,
but you're setting the tone, aren't you? It's like you're kicking it off.
Yeah, I am, and I get to wrap it up as well, I think. So, but that's really exciting, and I just sat down to the first episode of Fargo last night, new season of Fargo, and I was like, oh man, TV. Yeah, there's some brilliant people out there. It's great to be part of it.
I bet, and I hope there can be a happy medium between people going to the cinema still and TV existing. I hope TV is for TV, long form storytelling.
Yeah.
And then, we still get our movies at the cinema.
I'm optimistic about that. I mean, you don't meet many people who go, "Oh yeah, I'm not really looking forward to going back to the cinema. That's going to be rubbish." I was like, I can't wait to go to the cinema.
Of course.
And they're smack. They're going to bring out the Bond, isn't it? Was Bond's opening it up?
Yeah, November or sometime.
Yeah, and what other great stuff's coming? There's loads of great stuff just waiting to get us all back into the theaters. So
I mean, I've said it before, but like, it's about effort. It's about you go to the cinema and, it's the effort that you put in going and sitting in a dark room to watch a movie, getting out of your house makes you value the art a bit more, which is specific to film. TV can be watched at home. Long form storytelling belongs, at home.
It does. And it's the same thing, it's called the theatre. It's the theatre, and people go out and see the theatre, and it's if there's things that they want to see, that they'll go, and they're just different mediums, but there's certainly, I think, enthusiasm and passion for all of them.
Yeah.
And I can't, I think if it was going to die a death, it would have done it. That's my optimistic point.
That's good.
It's there.
It survived this. It can survive anything.
Exactly. And I think as long as there's filmmakers still making films to get out there and be films, that were seen in the theatre, in that collective experience, that's.
Yeah, it's this model, isn't it? Releasing them on streaming, because everyone, like I said, you can have a streaming service now. So pushing these streaming services has become so important that we're getting films that are going to be simultaneously released in the cinema and at home. And it's like, are people going to go to the cinema? And I hope they are, because it's, it's fundamentally an entirely different experience when you're watching a movie in a dark room, as opposed to, I've got a Whippet, so it's got a really kind of tragic face, and trying to watch a movie when that is looking at you going, I want to walk, is like, it's very distracting.
Of course, you need to get out of the house, get away from that kind of pressure. Look, I want to watch the film. You need a Whippet looking at me.
That's it. They should put that on all the marketing to get people back to the cinema.
Don't watch this film with a Whippet.
Dex, thank you so much, mate.
Anytime, Alex. Thank you, my friend.